Meanwhile, police in Canada have revealed a link between an American serial sexual offender who is now dead and 4 unsolved murders. This dates back to the 1970s. NewsNation's Caitlin Becker is rejoining us now. These are decades-old cold cases. How did they catch the suspect, especially knowing that he has passed, he's died?
You know, it should be no surprise here at this point, Hena, it comes down to DNA. The advances that technology has made in DNA profiling and the fact that law enforcement has access to a wider range of genealogy. I mean, I know my DNA profile is out there somewhere, so they can build a family tree. We're gonna be seeing more of this type of situation. But that's Gary Allen Srery. He was serving a life sentence for sexual assaults. He has died in prison, but Canadian authorities were able to connect him to 4 unsolved crimes that are decades old. Take a look at how they explained it.
We facilitated the comparison of collected suspect DNA to that of Gary Srery and learned that the samples were a match. 2 detectives, 2 genealogists, within 11 weeks, they had identified Mr. Srery, and they cleared the other 300 suspects that the RCMP had compiled over the last almost 50 years.
Now, the way this works is very complicated. It is extensive. They essentially built out a family tree to connect evidence, DNA evidence that they found on the bodies of 4 girls, 2 14-year-olds, a 19-year-old, and a 20-year-old whose bodies were found back in the 70s. And they were able to build out this family tree to connect them to this suspect who had died in prison in Idaho. So it involved multiple states, it involved Interpol, it involved 2 countries. It's very complicated, and it was very similar of how they built this genealogical family tree to what they're doing in the Idaho murder case with Brian Kohberger.
Well, the next question, could there be other victims out there?
Absolutely. Law enforcement believes that he could be connected to other cases in Western Canada. They said this, and I quote, "We know that Srery's criminality spanned decades over multiple jurisdictions and numerous aliases. The Alberta RCMP believe there are more victims, and we are asking the public to assist in furthering Srery's timeline in Canada." So we could potentially be looking at a prolific serial killer that up to this point hadn't even been on the police's radar.
All right, Caitlin Becker, thank you for that report. Thanks for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.